Hi there, it's Julie Davison. Today I'm going to show you how to do some watercoloring featuring the Moon Lake stamp set from the 2015 Stampin' Up! Occasions catalog. This is my pick for my March 2015 Stamp of the Month Club. Each time you join the club, each month in the club, you get a new stamp set, and then you get a card kit to make 3 different cards. You get enough supplies to make 2 each of all 3 cards. So these are the 3 cards for March with the Moon Lake, and I've done watercoloring on all of the cards. So I'm going to show you in this series of videos how I did the watercoloring on each card. All 3 cards I use the same materials. I use the watercolor paper, which is really the best for watercoloring, and I use the Aqua Painters. The Aqua Painters come in a package of 2, and the difference is the tips. You have one small tip and one large tip. Both pens are the same in that they have a screw off top, and then you can put water in the bottom to use for your watercoloring. So those are the basic tools I'm going to use. Let's get started. Today I'm going to give you some tips on making this card here. I used the soft suede and then some of the Pool Party here to color it. And one little tip I want to share with you first is that I cut apart the image. On the original stamp, the bird and the cattails are all one stamp image, and when I used it I cut them apart to make 2 images. So I just carefully cut in between that image, but I wanted to show you if you want to use it as one stamp, you can just piece it back together and I can still stamp one image like it was intended to be. But I'm using it today as 2 different images. So I have the bird here, and then on the other side the cattail. So I'm going to watercolor the bird, and I want to use the StazOn ink to do that with. When you use the StazOn ink, the water won't bleed or blend black lines, so you want to definitely make sure to use the StazOn for watercoloring. And on the watercolor paper, there's no right or wrong sides. You can watercolor on either side, so if you don't like the way it's stamped, you can just turn it over and try it on the other side. Now I do have the cattails there on the other side, and I just used a little bit of the Pear Pizzazz ink to stamp that image on the cardstock, so I'm going to save that for later. We'll get back to watercoloring here. So I'm going to use that Aqua Painter, and I'm just using the ink pads open like this, and so I picked up the color on the lid by just giving the ink pad a little squeeze, and then when I opened it up, the ink is pooled here in the lid. You can also use a little re-inker if you want, and just drop a few drops into your lid, but then I just use the Aqua Painter and squeeze out some color. So I'm going to start with the soft suede color, and I find it's always easier to go lighter and then add the darker color. So I'm starting with just sort of a light wash of that soft suede over the bird, and then a little bit here, and then I'm going to come back and pick up the darker ink here that's not so watered down and add some shading. So I'm going to go, you know, kind of with his feathers here in the back and on his wing. So you can shade that however you'd like with the watercolor. You just keep going until you get just the look that you want. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up a little bit of Blushing Bride back here for the beak, just putting that in there. You could use a yellow too if you want, or an orange. And the rest now is going to be with the Pool Party. So I've got some water down here, and I've got sky, and so I'm going to use the same color for both and just add the shading. So I'm going to start by really making that, add some water, make it real light, and start with sort of a wash all over the whole thing. And I cut this with the 2.5 inch circle punch, and so I want to keep the watercoloring kind of with the shape of the punch, the circle. So with my brush, I'm just sort of making that boundary there. I don't know if you can see it in the camera very well, but you can watercolor the background in any shape that you want. You can make it a rectangle, you can make it a circle. Even if you don't have the punch out, you can still just add you know, add kind of whatever shape you want as you're filling in that background color. So I'm just gonna go all over here with the blue. Making a circle. And then I'm just going to add, I'll zoom in here, I'm going to add some of the darker blue here. Again, around kind of the shading that that they've already done with the stamp image. Maybe squeeze a little bit more ink here. And just making the water a little bit darker to distinguish from the sky. So a little bit darker on the bottom half. Just adding layers of the watercoloring. Alright, so you can do it as long as you want. Just get the color exactly how you have it. And then here's the finished card. Let me back that up again. And so I used that stamp piece here and then a little bit of the white jute ribbon. I cut that in half and layered it onto a black circle. So here's the finished card again with the watercoloring. I hope that you like this technique and that you'll give it a try at home. Thanks for watching. Happy stamping!